Greetings, friends. We're going to get started in just a moment. As you're waiting in the waiting room, if you could go to the link that is listed on the screen right now, and from there you can get a copy of today's slides. That will be helpful as you'll be able to take notes and click on different links that we have in there. Thank you, and we'll get started in just a few minutes. Welcome, everyone. My name is Adam Seipel. I am I'm so excited to be here with you today. We're going to learn about some accessibility tools and universal design for learning. As we're going through this, at any point, if you have a question in Zoom, if you can look at the bottom of our screen right now, you'll see my face at the top of the screen. A lot of you probably will see our classmates who have their videos going. But at the bottom of the screen, there is a chat. So if we click on that chat icon, it will pull up here on the right-hand side. And in this spot, you can post questions. As we're going with so many different people who are in this room right now, we're at 59 people and we're expecting over 100 today. I have a moderator who's with me. His name is Eric Johnston, and he's extremely helpful. So if you have a question, please put it into the chat and he'll be able to respond. Most likely he will respond to you privately unless it's a question that keeps coming up, and then he will put it out to everyone or even stop me so that I can address it as a full group. So that's just a little housekeeping as we're going. When we're going through the session, if at any point you have that question, drop it in there. And I'm so excited to be learning alongside you today. So at this point, I'm going to share my screen. As we're going, we'll at different times be in our slides. Other times I'll be modeling how to use certain tools. And we will do our best to serve you. Okay. The very first thing, as we're looking at our slides, if you haven't yet done this, if you open a new tab in a browser and go to bit.ly/2VUASOZ, and the letters that you see that are capitalized right now will need to be capitalized when you type it in. That will prompt you to use the template. So in the right-hand corner, top right corner, there'll be a blue button that says Use Template. When you click on that, it's going to add a copy of these slides to your Google Drive and allow you to take your own notes, make any changes in there that you need to best serve you as we move forward. So again, if you haven't yet done this, we're going to bit.ly/2VUASOZ, and that will take you to be able to make a copy of these slides. That was also emailed to you, so you can check there as well. All right, so my name is Adam Seipel. I'm here because I love to help other people learn and grow. Several years ago, I worked in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and was able to work with the accessibility team for a number of years and to serve the students down there. From that point, I made it just an inherent part of everything I do. As I'm talking with other people, I bring in concepts of universal design for learning, and it's something that I'm extremely passionate about. I'm currently a learning technology facilitator in Albemarle County, just outside of Charlottesville, Virginia. I'm so thrilled to be working with you today. You can find me at Adam Seipel, or, and this isn't listed on this slide, but it will be later in our session, adamseipel@gmail.com if you would like to email me. I do want to just quickly brag, yes, I'm working from home, as my picture on the right-hand side showcases, and I'm proud to say that for 4 days in a row, I have showered, so that is a new quarantine record for me. It's been amazing to feel fresh and clean. I don't know why I shared that with you, but hey, we're getting weird here. All right, so something else to know as we're getting into our content, a few things that I think will make this session go especially well, these agreements. So the very first one, and if you've been to several of these sessions, it might be familiar now, but I think it is important to go over. The first one is grace, and being able to offer that to ourselves, to our students, to our peers, to the parents who we support. To me, this is a mantra. I repeat it all the time to my family, to the educators I work with. You're trying something new, and it's hard, and your students are trying something new, and it's hard for them. So the more grace that we can offer each other, I think that the better off we'll ultimately be, and the more that we'll all grow. The next is ask. If you have that question, please be your own advocate. Drop it into the chat like we talked about a few moments ago, and a moderator will help you. I will not be monitoring the chat at all. It is a little bit too distracting to be able to do that. That's why I reached out to Eric, and he'll be happy to do that. The next is try. Today, we're going to look at several new tools and strategies, and you may choose just one and be like, yeah, that's the one I want to try. That's going to help serve my students, or that's going to help me to be able to better serve them. That's cool. You don't, I have a friend who often says, what's your one new thing? When you go to a conference, you don't need to take back everything, though we want to. Pick one thing that can really have an impact. The next is support. Think about, and I almost put share here, think about the your coworkers and the people who you support back down the hallway from you on a typical school day. If there's something in here that you're like, that's going to really help this coworker, please share this, this session with them. In 2 weeks, we're going to repeat the session. I think it's on May 5th. So if you direct them to the Vassal website, they can sign up. There are definitely more spaces available for that session, though they are filling up pretty quickly. The final is Virginia. We are all educators from around Virginia, or at least most of us are. It did, these sessions did become national, and we did get some international requests to join as well. But my Virginians, we're in this thing together. And together, we're going to be able to really serve these students, even though it's a challenging time. We've got this. I believe in you guys. I hope you believe in me too. So those are our agreements. I think that by framing things, it's going to be really helpful as we move forward. I found this awesome quote: accessibility allows us to tap into everyone's potential. To me, when I had the aha moment that accessibility wasn't just for students who had barriers to their learning, but really the tools that we're looking at together today are for all learners. And in just a moment, we're going to dive deep into what universal design for learning, what that term means. But I do want you to think through how these tools could be, these strategies can be something that all of your students benefit from. And yourself, you'll probably benefit from it as well. So the very first thing, building ramps to knowledge. Back in, I believe, the 1950s or 60s, the concept of universal design emerged from NC State. And one of the first people, or someone who's been emailing me who's a part of the session, I saw you had an NC State icon, so go Wolfpack, right? And with that, universal design started off as an architecture concept. And how can we make all of our buildings and structures more accessible for everybody so that, well, here's a good cartoon that depicts that. So here we have a person who is clearing the steps, and I'll read it because it might be small on your screen. Could you please shovel the ramp? All these other kids are waiting to use the stairs. When I get through shoveling them off, then I will clear the ramp for you. And the person who started off says, but if you shovel the ramp, we can all get in. So instead of, I'm going to start by using these strategies for the majority of my students and leaving some other students off, we can use a single strategy, a single tool that can serve all of our learners. And that's what we're really talking about today. All right, and continuing on with Universal Design for Learning, there are 3 different components. I got this from CAST, which is a fantastic website. This is linked, so if you'd like to visit their site, you can just click on this, this image. It will take you there, cast.org. So the 3 different concepts of UDL are engagement, how our students are interacting with the content, what motivates them, how is the content represented? So can we represent the same idea through auditory, through visual, through video, and our students can access in those means. And then finally, action and expression. In what way are our students demonstrating their knowledge or the skill? So as we're going to be talking about how these strategies, these skills can meet those different needs. All right, so we're going to get started with some different Chrome extensions. And I like to say that extensions give our web browsers, I'm using Google Chrome right now, and most of these will work best in that browser, that these extensions give your browser superpowers. And that's why I wanted to add in The Incredibles. I have 2 young boys at home, a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old. We watch a lot of Pixar movies. We watch a lot of The Incredibles. So this is fresh on my mind. All right, so the very first tool that I wanted to talk about today is an absolute favorite of mine. We're gonna watch the short video about Read and Write for Google. And as we talked about before, it is an extension. It's this little icon in the top right of my screen. It looks like a puzzle piece. We're going to watch this video, and then I'm going to demonstrate how this tool can work.
Millions of young people around the world are getting a daily literacy and language boost with Read and Write. And now we've made it even better. Read and Write helps students learn, research, and express themselves more confidently at all grade levels and across all subjects. The friendly toolbar works with web pages, PDF files, Google Docs, and all your classroom documents and existing lesson plans. And with great features like text-to-speech, word prediction, picture dictionaries, audio maker, and study highlighters, it fits right in with today's varied curriculum and teaching strategies. When you've got a classroom full of individuals with their own abilities, challenges, and attitudes to learning, Read and Write Write gives every student just the right level of personalized support they need. Fluent readers looking to enrich their vocabulary, English language learners, and students who are performing below average in their literacy scores, allowing them to catch up with the rest of the class. Read and Write offers help to all your students. What's more, it includes welcome extra features, which give students with additional learning needs like dyslexia a little extra support without making them feel any different from their classmates. Read and Write is easy for schools to deploy and use. One license gives full access for every type of device: PCs, Macs, Chromebooks, and tablets. And it's always up to date, with updates being delivered automatically. So support is a breeze for busy IT staff. Sign in and you're good to go, in class, at home, or on the move. So why not give every one of your students a valuable literacy boost with our best ever Read and Write?
All right, so I'm going to open Read and Write up. There is a link on here that you can learn more, but for now, probably the best option is going to be to watch my screen. Our presentation today is being recorded, and you do have access to the resources from the slides. So please watch at this point, and then you'll have time to practice following the session. So up here, I have turned on Read and Write. I clicked my little puzzle piece. I'm in this article about how cell phones can keep people learning around the world. It was a little tricky to find a somewhat optimistic article these days, but I think I did find one. So when we're in here, the first thing I can do is hit play and highlight this text, hit play.
Standing in front of a small tropical tree, a man.
And I can start to do read aloud. So that text is accessible to me this way. I have a screenshot reader, so I can use that for an image that has some text in it. I have the choice to audio maker, where I can read things aloud. Some other options that I have in here, I really like simplify page, this progressively smaller set of 3 lines. When I click on that, it's going to take the reading level and make it even easier for me. It also gets rid of any ads that I may have. It just makes it accessible in terms of the text that's in there, and then also how it's read. So I can do single space, double space, and really make this so visually, as we talked about before, how the text is represented, I can access it in a much easier way. I can also simplify it. So this is going to take the words that are in here and remove some of the more challenging words and replace them with ones that might be more appropriate for my learners. So some other things that I really like within the Read and Write tool is the highlighting feature. So if my students didn't know what the word hand washing meant, I can highlight it. I'm going to do commerce as well, transportation, and one more, we'll do restriction. So I'm just highlighting the word and then coming up to our highlighter up here. And once I've done that, this is such an amazing tool. I'm going to click where it says vocabulary and check out what is going on. In just a few seconds, my browser is going to add a new tab, and we're in there now, vocabulary list untitled. And in here, I have hand washing. That one didn't work quite as well as I was hoping. Restrictions. Notice I have my word, the definition. For some of them, like commerce, I have picture representations. Then I also have this column for notes. Now, if you have students who are not English language natives, one other thing that we could do is do a right click in here, insert column to the right, and do in Spanish. And so now all of a sudden, my students can engage with this text by having, here's the word, here's my meaning, here's it translated, for a lot of them having the picture in there too, and it was just with a couple clicks of the button. So a very, very helpful tool that our students can use pretty simply. All right, so now at this point, I have a resource that is built in Google Docs, right? We have our vocabulary list. And the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off Read and Write, and I'm going to start moving into our next tool that we're talking about, and that is Screencastify. So Screencastify allows me, And the way that we're going to be using it today is I'm going to show you two different uses of this tool. It's another extension, so it's showing up in the top right. It's this little, looks like a play button with a camera on top. And as it loads, look how simple this is. Screencastify free, 5-minute limit per video, and I can do unlimited recordings and editing. So look at this. I'm going to turn on my microphone. I can turn on a webcam. And now I'm going to record. I've never tried to do a screencast as I'm also doing a live video conference, so I don't know how that's going to work or if it will work. So we're getting a little weird right now. I keep saying that. Okay, so what we'll do instead, I'm going to just open up my recordings because some of these might be able to model what we would be doing anyway. So here is how to write your college essay.
How easy it is to be able to move a file into the shared folder.
Okay, so what I'd like you to pretend is that this writing here was something that a student had turned in, and that over here I'm giving them feedback on their paper. So instead of doing written feedback, I can do it directly, have my picture next to their writing as I'm going, or next to their slides that they're doing as they're going. I can highlight different things. Oh, this had a lot of great detail in here. Or this might be a part that you want to go back and revisit. Or here's an extension idea. So I can add that type of detail in there. And the really cool thing, if you look over here on the right-hand side, I could share something directly to Google Classroom this way. I can get a shareable link. So now I have that copied. If I come back to the student's writing, I'm going to highlight it, add a comment, and all I have to do is copy that in here. And now my student, when they go back to their paper, can click this link and see my video description giving feedback to their paper, to their work. So that Screencastify, very simple tool. It saves directly to your Google Drive. You can save it directly to YouTube as well. So versatile resource there. Okay. Please know that we do have a video that talks about how to use Screencastify, so you can come back and watch that moving forward. All right, so next, I'm a really big fan of Google tools. I know quite a few of you have been with me the last 2 days as we talked about Google Classroom. If we are on slide 12, we're going to start off by talking about the accessibility tools that are built directly into Google Docs. So what I'd like you to do, if you're on our slides, you can just say, click where it says Docs, or if you're not on our slides, open a new tab and type docs.new, docs.new, and it will take you to a new Google Doc. All right, so in here, I'm in my fresh Google Doc, and I would like to hear from someone. You can either unmute for just a second or in the chat, what is something that you're going to be teaching your students in the next few days? Can someone tell me?
2D and 3D shapes.
2D and 3D shapes. Awesome, thank you. Okay, so check out what I'm going to do. I'm coming up here to Tools and coming down to Voice Typing. And now that I did that, I get this little pop-up, and I'm going to click Allow. I'm learning about 2D and 3D shapes. Now that I've used all of, I've said what I wanted to, it's typed in there. Now the cool thing about voice typing that's in Google Docs, I could say new paragraph. Let me try it. New paragraph. Have you ever enjoyed something as much as voice typing? Question mark. So you can speak your punctuation. I find that this is really helpful when we're talking about our students and how they process the different content. So we have a lot of students who have great ideas that are in their head, but when it comes to typing something or when it comes to writing something on a piece of paper, there's some sort of barrier. And by having them speak through it, they're able to get their ideas out. And it makes it much more accessible. Now, something else that you might notice in here is that it says English US. And our students can go in here and select whatever their native language is and be able to use voice typing in that native language, and it will type it for them too. All right, so the next thing that I want to show you within this, again, for voice typing, we're going up to Tools and then down to this option here. Has anyone ever used the Explore tool in Google Docs? Because if not, this is going to be your new favorite thing. I'm just going to go ahead and lay it out there. So here I'm clicking it in the bottom right-hand corner. It kind of looks like a speech bubble with a star in it. When I do that, check out what happens. It's saying you're probably trying to learn about three-dimensional space, shapes, or about typing. And if you look back at the text that I had on the left-hand side, that's exactly what I was talking about, right? So I'm going to pick this, this option here of shape. And in here, it gives me different websites. It does an entire Google search directly within my Google Doc. But wait, there's more. So if I find something that I really like, check out what I can do. So if I end up getting information from this resource, I can hover over it and I can click on these two quotation marks. So when I do that, it's going to cite it down here at the bottom of the page for me. So it makes that footnote for me, makes it very easy to give credit to our resources. Now, not everybody uses MLA. I'm a huge fan of MLA, Recovering English Teacher. It's the best, but if we click on these three dots, you can select APA or Chicago as well, but come on, MLA is the best. All right, continuing across within our Explore tool, we can go to Images. And I know that there are many ways that you can bring images into a Google Doc. However, this is probably my go-to, and take a look at why. When I click Insert Image this way, so I was in Image and I just clicked on the little plus sign. The difference when I do it this way is now it gives me the website that resource came from. If I used another means, my students are not, there's nothing that my students can do that will tell me where that resource came from. But when I go to Explore tool and then click the plus sign, the link is provided and credit has been given. So I'm going to close my Explore tool. And the final thing that I want to show you within Google Docs itself is going back to Tools. And this time we're going to go down to Translate Document. And in Translate Document, I'm going to start by putting what language I'm putting it into. So I'm going to make this one Spanish. And then choose my language. And look at all these different languages. I've never even heard of a lot of these languages. That's how many that are available to help serve our students in this time. So I'm going to pick my Spanish one and translate. And in just a few seconds, my resource is going to be translated into Spanish. Now, I have barely any text in this resource, but if you had an entire research paper, I'm in grad school right now, I could translate it and it might take about the same amount of time. So now estoy aprendiendo acerca. I'm not going to even go any further, but it has translated it for me, and I still have it cited down here at the bottom. Again, it's whatever we can do that can make the tools that we're already using more available, more accessible for our students. At this point, I'm going to close my tab so that I can get back to our slides. We're going to move into our next tool. So looking back at our slides, we said with Google Docs, we wanted to do voice to text. We've seen how to do that. We wanted to do translation. We've seen that. And then also the Explore tool. So we've successfully done each of those. All right, the next one is slides. And I'm in slides right now. So I'm going to model a few of these directly in this spot. So look at my screen. When you're in present mode, and I'll leave present mode just for a second, and get back to what you're probably accustomed to seeing when you are creating Google Slides. So I'm in this view right now. When I come up to present, I have a few different choices here. I'm going to click that drop-down menu just to the right of present. And I'm going to do presenter view. So with this, sorry, I didn't really want to do that. I just wanted to hit present. So anyway, now I get my different choices down at the bottom, and I have a few different bars going, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, so now I have these choices because I'm the presenter, and I'm going to walk through some of these. Right here I have captions. Take a look at this. Today we're learning about accessibility tools. My name is Adam Seipel. It's great to be here with you. If you see at the bottom of the page right now, we're having live captions with my slides that are going on. Now, I don't know how helpful this tool may be when we're in this time of distance learning, but when you get back to your classroom, I really encourage you to have this going on, because we will consistently have some students who are in the back of the room who may not have the best hearing, or maybe they're an English language learner, and being able to access your voice and the slides and through multiple means of access will be incredibly important for them. You'll also notice we have a drop down here. We can change the text size, make it larger so that our students can see it in the back. Now, I've been in crowded rooms before where there's someone I might be in the back of the room, and your students could turn this on too, just for themselves, be in the back of the room, and it will pick up what you're saying in the front of the room, and they can still use this feature. Okay, another part that I want to quickly show, and I think you could use this even in this time of distance learning, is Q&A. So with Q&A, I can give my students a link, and they can start to, they would go to this link, slides.app.goo.goal/mbn4b, and they can start to submit questions that we'd be able to respond to as well. So a couple different ways that we can use these tools that are built into slides. I'm going to turn off Q&A now. Maybe not. Okay. The final piece that we wanted to talk about with this is how we use Explore. It's going to be exactly or very similar to what we saw with Docs. So I could come down to the bottom of my page, do Explore, and do a text search within here. So this time I'm looking at Universal Design for Learning, and be able to get all of this information directly in here. And see, the first result is from cast.org, which is what we used before at the beginning of our slides today. Okay, so again, fantastic resources built directly into slides. This next one I'm excited about. A couple of years ago, I was doing a presentation, and I called YouTube the best learning tool ever made. And I truly mean that. When I don't know how to do something in my garden, or learning how to cook, or something on my car, the very first place I go is YouTube to try to learn it. I'm guessing that for a lot of you, you do something similar, and that our students definitely do. So this time I'm going to open up a new tab, go to YouTube, and in here I'll have my suggested videos coming up. We'll go to how to sow carrot seeds.
Oh.
Exciting stuff.
Hey, guys.
And as we saw before, I think we have someone who might be talking.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and mute. Okay, so here I am in our YouTube video, and just like we did with slides, I can click the CC option in here. And so now I have
Guys, what's up? It's Jess. Welcome back to
auto closed captioning. But if I click just to the right of that in my settings, from here, I can change what language I want it to be. And it's going to auto translate as we're going. So instead, I'm going to do Italian. And so now,
Roots and Refuge Farm. I'm in my garden.
Out loud, verbally, it's still being spoken in English, but it is being translated in real time for our students to be able to read. Again, I know that in the school that I serve, we have over 50 different languages spoken in a single high school. And throughout the state, a lot of you serve students from a variety of home countries and different languages spoken at home. So that's another thing that we can definitely use to serve our kiddos. I'm going to bounce back here. Another piece that I often use is just search. So here, if I wanted to look for barbecue, here we have interesting choices coming up. But this is an off, actually I'll do 2D shapes, right? So filter is one of my favorite parts of YouTube. So I can come in here, and the two that I most frequently do, first is making it short. My students are not gonna watch a 15-minute video or an 80-minute video. I want it to be something short, short, short. 3 minutes and 44 seconds may be too long for my first grader who I have at home. So I'm also gonna go to filter, and for some things, I want it to be from this past year. I don't want it to be a video from 8 years ago. If I'm trying to give directions on how to use Flipgrid to my students, that's not gonna help them. So in here I can see, well, this is from 2 weeks ago. It's about 2D shapes, and it's 2 minutes and 16 seconds. And I can make multiple filter choices all within here. I also have the option to do some other things in here, such as Creative Commons, that would allow you, I know it used to allow you to download the videos as well, be able to repost them other places legally. So that's another one that you may choose to use at different times. But again, it's coming into our search originally, going to filter, and then most often doing the duration and how frequent or how recently the video was made. Okay. I would like to just quickly pause, and if there are a few different questions that we have from the audience, I'm happy to maybe step on those or to listen to those. So Eric, are there any common themes that we're getting in the chat right now?
We're able to answer all the questions. One thing we noticed is that the voice to text in a Google Doc, you must be using Google Chrome to do it.
Yeah.
And if you're using Screencastify and you want to record a slideshow, the closed caption also will show up in your video. So it'll record everything on the screen for you.
Yeah, so a lot of these tools are gonna be able to be used together. I've heard that term of being called app smashing, and Screencastify and Google Slides captions are a fantastic way that you can bring that together and then post it in YouTube, where you could even then get the translation of what you did originally too. So I love it. Great ideas. I'm not sure if I mentioned this use of Screencastify, but I've been encouraging the teachers I support here in Albemarle to, before a student gets into an assignment, do a video explanation of what you're looking for. So if you're doing a choice board, quick sell, we're doing a session on choice boards in about an hour from now, you could record a screen capture of that choice board, talk through what you want them to do, how you want them to engage with it, and share all of that information so they can just watch the video, and it might remove some of the ambiguity of just seeing the text in there. Any other thoughts or questions as we're kind of paused for just a quick second? Cool. All right. All right, so we're going to continue on. And at this point, we're going to look at Flipgrid real quick. So here, we're gonna watch this short video. I think it is just a minute long, and then we're gonna bounce into Flipgrid for a second. Don't know what happened there. Okay, we'll try again.
Provide inclusion for my deaf students.
I have a voice. I have a voice. I have a voice.
to be an inclusive opportunity for all students to share their voice.
And we are so proud to build an environment that is accessible, simple, and fun.
And I'm so proud to be on our mission to empower every voice.
Okay. So Flipgrid, I know some of you are probably already users. If not, it's a fantastic resource. We are going to jump into it for probably the next 5 or so minutes and take a peek at it. I do want to just quickly highlight some of the accessibility tools that we're going to be looking at. First of all, when we get back to the main concepts of UDL, this allows our, as a teacher, to be able to represent ideas in a variety of ways. So now I can read aloud, I can do a whiteboard option in there so that my students can see it, they can hear it, they can go back and pause and be able to engage with what I'm sharing with them. When it comes to being able to demonstrate their understanding of something, my students would be able to, if they needed to, they can do a screen capture. I'm going to go there. I don't know why I'm telling you. I'm going to just go there. All right, so it's flipgrid.com. I'm going to go there. And once you're in, and you can just follow along with me, there are some great resources. I am doing a session on this tomorrow as well, so you can check that out. But from Flipgrid, if you're brand new, you'd want to do educator sign up. I have an account already, so I'm going to do educator login. And from here, I'm using my school Google account. You can also use, if your school is a OneDrive school or a Microsoft school, you can do that instead. So I'm in here, I have my Flipgrid is laid out. With Flipgrid, think of, they arrange it, they have some interesting vocabulary, right? So we're in here, here's a grid. I have 6 of them. And something that you can do, you can organize your course into different topics. So you might have a grid for just social interactions. You might have a grid for reflection after a lesson, or you could do it by here is an entire unit and all your different questions are bundled into one grid by unit. Lots of different ways. So in here, I'm going to go to this grid that I recently made called Celebrate Every Day. And so in here, we have a few different videos that are made. I'm going to click here. And I'm just going to bounce through a few of the different accessibility features that I really like. So here is the principal at the high school where I work, who is giving a video introduction about how he wants his staff to engage with this Flipgrid. So again, we don't just have the text over here, but we also have video and audio that are telling you how to engage with it. And as we saw before, it's a YouTube video, so we have our subtitles, we have the ability to do translation as well. The next thing that we have is this awesome button. And Microsoft, I don't know when they came out with it, but they have this tool called Immersive Reader. And if you've never heard of Immersive Reader, I'm still pretty new at it, but it takes text that's on the screen. It can also take all of the text, anything that is spoken in a Flipgrid video.
We love our AHS Patriot seniors.
And they make it typed out. They make it where it does read aloud. You can come in and change text preferences, so we can increase spacing in here, things like that. We can adjust grammar if we want. So I want to see all of the nouns in here, and we can do that. So as a recovering English teacher, that's awesome. We can do syllables. My son is in 1st grade. He's still getting stronger and stronger as a reader, so we can come in and do syllables, and he can see how that's broken down. We also can just adjust our reading preferences. So and we can translate it too. So if I need that initial introduction to be in Spanish now, I can come down to translate, choose which Spanish I want. We'll do Mexico for this one. Do I want it to translate by word or document? And all of that is available in here. Picture dictionary, lots of different choices in here. All right, so I'm back out here, and now we have our videos. So people have submitted these. And when I click on this teacher who submitted her response, Just like we saw before, Immersive Reader is an option. When I click on Immersive Reader, it's taking her spoken text.
Hey seniors, I hope you're all doing really well. I love you and I miss you and you guys can do this.
So we can see that there are a few parts like he seniors may not be right, but still it's getting us pretty close, and we can engage with this information in a variety, we can access it in a variety of ways, right? And we can translate what she said into Spanish so that other people can understand it. We can do our closed captioning. Now, the other cool thing that we can do with this is I can give video feedback. So after seeing Rebecca's submission, I can click video feedback and record my feedback to Rebecca if I wanted to. So again, it's multiple ways that we can access information, multiple ways that we can provide information to our students, and that we can allow them to engage with the content that we give them.
Hey, seniors.
Okay, I'm gonna bounce back to our slides real quick to make sure I'm getting everything that I was hoping to. Another piece that I think is really important with this is that our students can, we can set it up within Flipgrid so that one of my students, so Chef Poindexter, could respond to Mrs. Bertram, and that we can start to use this for engagement as well. That's not really the focus of our session together today. There is a session on tomorrow that we'll be looking at that, and it'll be repeated on, I think, May 7th. So that if that's something you're interested in, definitely sign up for that session. But I did want to at least allude to it at this point. Okay. So bouncing back to our slides, the final big content that we have when it comes to different ways to access, and this one's kind of silly. I hope that's okay. Our students are visual learners. We know that because they gravitate towards platforms like TikTok, and they're going to Instagram, and they're watching videos and using emojis all the time. We know that they are visual learners, right? So one way that I like to engage with this is being able to use memes, use GIFs or GIFs, whatever you want to call it, emojis, Bitmojis, to be able to represent in a way that they don't have to read. So even if a student has never spoken English before, never heard English before, they can see this picture of someone washing their hands, and they have that information conveyed to them. We can be silly. So I know that my son is interested in Legos, and he's interested in Harry Potter. So I can find a GIF that represents that. And now I'm building off of those relationships that I have with my students and lightening the mood. So I can give feedback in a very simple way that they understand it, they can access it. And our students can do an assignment based on this too. So they can showcase their knowledge, their understanding of a concept by recording a video, by putting memes in there, by doing emojis. And it's just a different literacy that we can start to build up for our students. And that we might be able to kind of switch that where we could learn that literacy from them as well. All right, so we are kind of getting into that wrap-up phase right now. We do have some extra time than from some of the other sessions, so if we want to extend kind of a Q&A, we can certainly do that. But thank you guys for being present with me today. You can find me at Adam Seipel. You can email me at adamseipel@gmail.com. Are there any questions that we would like to check in with real quick? You can just unmute your video if you do have one.